Kyle Kulinski, seen here singing Even Flow by Pearl Jam, tries to figure out what the hell happened to Joe Rogan. Such a change to swing to the right on Trumpism. Kyle Kulinski show is pretty great. I recommend you check it out if you haven't. But, it's hard to do Joe Rogan content on here because of copyright claims. But sometimes when you show someone else's clip and they've already gotten it cleared, it works. So that's what I'm going to do now. But I think this is really interesting because Joe Rogan is such a popular, probably the most popular podcaster operating today. And there's a lot of thought that his endorsement of Donald Trump really affected, I don't know if it's true or not, but affected the outcome of the election. Let's take a listen to what Kyle Kulinski thinks about it.
He's talking to Duncan Trussell, his comedian podcaster buddy. Duncan is very hippie-ish, more left-wing than most of his edgy comedian friends. And God, I forgot this part of Rogan. I mean, I knew that according to him, his values were more on the left. Talked about universal health care, free college, things of that nature. But this is even, this is libbing out or leftying out on the issue of immigration.
And this clip is, we couldn't determine exactly when this clip is from, maybe 2017?
During Trump's first term. So sit back and relax and ask yourself, what the hell happened to this guy? Ready? Watch this.
About this immigrant issue, and they either don't have kids or they don't think it could happen to their kids. Their idea is, hey, shouldn't have fucking come over here. You get those kind of people. Broke the law. Shouldn't have fucking come over here if your kid, you didn't want to get your kid separated. If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby. Yeah. If that doesn't freak you the fuck out, you're not a part of the team, man. You're missing it. You're missing it. What are we here for? We're here for 100 years of whatever. That's what we're here for. If you want to spend 100 years saying, hey, she shouldn't have fucking broke the law, I don't want you on the team. You're an asshole, right? And I don't give a fuck if you're right or left. I don't care if you're religious, or I don't care if you're an atheist. If that's what you support, you're an asshole. And we don't want you on our team. Okay? So, but if you agree with certain economic policies that I don't agree with, and we could have a discussion about it, we can figure out why you agree, and we can figure out why people are allowing all of this money to get into politics. Why are we allowing all these special interest groups and lobbyists to interfere with our laws and influence our politicians and create all this shit that we don't want? Well, here's the number one reason. You can't just vote online. You can't just vote. It's not one person, one vote.
I don't know where that part came from. Okay.
Right. It's the Electoral College, and there's a lot of checks and balances that are in place. It's all wonderful and groovy, but it's not giving the trust to the people. Right. The trust to the people that they're informed, that they can make their own decisions, that more people should be able to make these decisions. But they're happening now. That 28-year-old girl who won in New York, 28-year-old.
That's AOC he's talking about.
Democratic socialist. Whether I agree with her or not, and I don't know if I do or don't. I bet I agree with her on a lot of things. I think education should be free. I think we should figure out a way. If we could pay for bombs, we could pay for schools. I think this idea that everybody should have health care, it's a great idea. Who the fuck wants people to not be healthy? Who wants people to be hurt and not be able to fix it? Are you really saying that struggling people should have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to get fixed when we could maybe chip in and help members of our team? That's stupid. Fill it up. Figure it out yourself. I had to. You got lucky, bitch. You got lucky you don't have leukemia. You didn't break both your legs when you were 18. Your parents are dead. Right. You got lucky, piece of shit. These are people on our team. Right. Because I'm not talking about people who are lazy, good for nothing, losers, mooching off the system. You're going to have that too. Well, we got to figure out how to educate people so that happens less and less.
Do I even need to say anything? That rant on immigration, he ended up endorsing a guy who's calling for mass deportation of 10, 15, 20 million people. Texas now is saying, hey, Trump, we set aside 1,400 acres for you to build your concentration camps to deport all these people.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be clear about something, too. 10, 15, 20 million people. The idea that they're all just criminals is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I got to agree, man. That's a huge swing, even over a period of a few years to the right.
We've seen the studies on this. Cato Institute, a right-wing think tank, did a study. Both documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants commit crime at a much lower rate than natural-born American citizens. Now, they'll start with the easy ones. They'll start with the low-hanging fruit. They'll start with this person has a felony conviction or whatever, right? They'll start with that. But then it's mission creep. Trump just came out the other day and said, we are going to deploy the military to do this. That's what we're going to do. That's what he said. He wants to do mass deportation. He was running on it very openly, very loudly, very directly. He said it in all of his rallies. Joe went from saying this shit to endorsing the mass deportation guy.
Gleefully. Like, if you listen to any Joe Rogan now, he's just so pleased with himself. The idea that he had some effect on it. He's like taking victory laps.
Look, to be fair, I mean, I've seen over time now, there's a lot of people who were Rogan fans did end up turning on him. The more, it was a mission creep type thing. It was like, hey, it's just spouting mostly lefty opinions. And then over time, it became a little more right wing, then a little more right wing, then a little more right wing. And then, eventually it was totally hopping on the Trump train, endorsing Trump. But where'd this guy go? Hey, Duncan Trussell, you better get back into that Rogan podcast and talk to your boy, right? Duncan Trussell, help your man out here. Because I think Duncan being more on the left made it so Joe was more on the left, right? But when you're surrounded all day, every day by edgy right-leaning comedians who say edgy right-leaning shit, and you're surrounded by Dana White, who's a hardcore Republican, and that's the water you swim in, it becomes, the other perspective is just totally out of the picture now.
Yeah, I've said that a lot, that I think that Joe Rogan's a little bit like tofu. Like, he just kind of absorbs the flavor that you marinate him in. And I don't know why. Maybe the comedians were the, the sort of delivery system of these sort of increasingly right-wing views. Oh, cancel culture, right? We can't say anything anymore. And then that leads you to the right. I don't know.
Totally out of the picture. But this is one of the leftiest lefty rants I've ever heard. It doesn't get more lefty than this. I mean, he was literally making an argument against just deportations there, right? It wasn't even just the family separation shit. It was more wide-ranging than that. It was an overarching argument about like, hey, it's kind of fucked up to take somebody who's a good person who's just working hard and trying to get by and making the country better. It's kind of fucked up to just take that person and deport him. And he went on to endorse the mass deportation guy. So again, one more time, I know you guys have seen this one, but it really just puts everything into perspective. This is what Joe used to sound like.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins.
She's good.
She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education.
Take it easy.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and spend a fuckload of money. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's scary.
And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Lonzo?
No, it was
A funny comedian.
Yeah.
He goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
But the January 6th thing is important.
See, it is important,
And
but is it the 6 months later? Should be the ruling number one conversation of journalists?
I think it's really important. And one of the reasons why I think it's important because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so fucking dangerous. Is because a guy can incite a bunch of morons to do something really fucking stupid. But as far as trans people, some trans people listening to this, I got nothing but love for you. For everybody. And in fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard.
The right-wing thing is just an easy way to dismiss me because I'm not right-wing. I can't recommend your book, Race Matters, enough.
The people who were criticizing Joe as being right-wing were correct. They were right. They were right. You say all this, then you endorse the guy who believes in the opposite. You endorse the guy who massively cut taxes for the wealthy, which, by the way, Joe's very wealthy, right? Joe's very wealthy. But Trump's the guy who lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs on his watch. He presided over a loss of 2.9 million jobs. 3 million people lost their health insurance under Trump. 50 million gained it under Democrats. He appointed more billionaires and Wall Street CEOs than any president in history. He filled the NLRB with union busters, who of course went on to screw workers. His labor department stiffed 8 million workers of overtime pay. You guys all know the pro-war stuff, increasing drone strikes over 400%, bombing Syria twice, bombing Somalia, trying to coup Venezuela, ripping up the Iran agreement. So he endorsed the guy who represents the opposite of every single thing you just heard him say here.
You know, I would have listened to Joe Rogan more if he was still that guy. But I don't know. I mean, what a transformation. I just think it's crazy. Anyway, I want to know what you think, right? I mean, do you agree with Kyle Kulinski? Are you a Joe Rogan fan? Like, what are your theories on how this incredible flip-flop from the left to the right happened? Let me know in the comments.